Really? Really? Fucking Roy?
Damn enchiladas!
Welcome to the Dave Cave. I, as always, am Dave. Now, before we get started, stay on top of all things horror and a little bit of heroes, like reviews, rants, rankings, and reactions. Hit that subscribe and ding the bell so you don't miss a minute. Today's video marks the halfway mark through the entire Friday the 13th, well, the original Friday the 13th series, with Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. Released in 1985, just 1 year after the final chapter, so much for that. Part 5 was directed by Danny Steineman, stars Melanie Kinnaman as Pam, the final girl in this one. Yeah, we're going to talk about her. You have John Shepherd coming in as Tommy Jarvis, taking over the reins from a still very young Corey Feldman. Then you have Dick Wien as Jason. Well, the Jason-esque role. Yes, we are going to talk about that as well. I'm pissed. Part 5 is set 4, maybe 5 years after the last one and picks up with Tommy Jarvis moving into a halfway home because he is still very mentally unstable and still recovering from his encounter with Jason in the final chapter. He is not doing okay. They go into it a little bit more as to really how not okay he is, and you get a little bit more of it as the movie unfolds. But after he is in this halfway home, you get the idea that Jason's reign of terror might not actually be done. Yes, I know, I saw the movie. Just work with me here. Part 5 was really something else when you compare it with the great time I had with the final chapter. So, really without further ado, let's get into the not many things that I liked about this film with the good. The first thing I liked in Part 5, which actually I liked it a fair amount, was Tommy Jarvis and his dealing with PTSD and trying to shake Jason out of his psyche. I like it because it's the first time we've actually dealt with it since Part 2, with Alice and that little bit she had at the beginning. You understood that she was trying to work her way past it. She doesn't get to. She gets an ice pick to the temple. But Tommy Jarvis is moving into this halfway home, trying to shake Jason. He has been in massive amounts of treatment. But with him being in that massive amounts of treatment and still seeing visions of Jason, not being there, having to suppress it, shake it away, you have this fragile badass that Tommy Jarvis is. And throughout the movie, you don't really know what he's capable of. I mean, you see it a couple times. He takes Eddie, flips his shit, and starts beating the hell out of him. And then you see it again when he's out kicking Junior's ass when they're going out to see Reggie's brother. He is a badass. I wish we had gotten it a little bit more towards the end when there was finally the final confrontation with Jason. But I like that you didn't know what was going on with him, that he could still be twisted. He could still kick the shit out of anybody. I was wishing they could focus it. They didn't, but I like Tommy Jarvis in this one. I like that he is actually dealing with, having dealt with Jason. That would mess you up, but we don't see that with anybody else. We see that Chris was driven a little bit crazy. We don't know anything about what's happened with Jenny. We know that she was asking for Paul, but we get to see Tommy Jarvis. He is messed up. We get that with the opening. Too, he's having these nightmares. He's still seeing Jason. He gets, the grave robber dream. He's not okay. And I'm hoping we see more of him moving forward because, damn, that boy's story is not done. And I'm very ready for it. Now, this next thing I liked is a complete inverse of one of my likes from the last one, is that there's no recap at all. This is the first one. They dive right into it. You get this pretty tense, pretty loud, pretty cool dream sequence with Corey Feldman, and you're like, holy shit, Jason's not dead, and he's about to kill the survivor from the last one. It's a callback to 2 that, holy shit, he's not done. This is going to be really bad. And then, he wakes up, but they dive right into the movie. They assume we know. They assume we got the history. I'm for it. I like it. I like the change of pace. I like that they kept the momentum going from the beginning, kinda. But it was good. I liked it. No recap. Woo! The last thing I want to mention in the good column is the fact that this film, by far, has the highest kill count with 21. If you count the 2 guys in the dream sequence, and you count Roy, I count all 3 of those, you get 21. It's a lot. But that's the end of where I give any props to the kills in this movie. That's it. I like that there's the highest body count. I didn't like the body count. I didn't like how they were executed. So let's just move along, unfortunately, right into the bad. My first entry in the bad column is the victims. Unfortunately, I didn't give a shit about any of the victims in this movie except for Tommy, Reggie, and Reggie's family. The rest of them, I didn't give a shit about one of them. I was completely fine with everybody in this movie, including Pam, the final girl, eating shit. I did not care. I will say, when Joey died, when he caught the axe to the back, I was completely caught off guard. I gasped because I didn't see it coming at all whatsoever. He was a very innocent, very kind of slow character, so I was expecting him to get something later, maybe something chocolate bar related from Jason, but it was just quick and just happened and just holy shit. But ultimately, I didn't care. And then it comes up later and I'm like, really? I don't care. I didn't care about him dying. It was a cool death. It was a gnarly reveal of the kill, but I didn't care. I really didn't care about anybody. I know I'm nailing that home, but you gotta give a shit about some people in this movie. That's not to say that I really wanted anybody to die. Like, I didn't care about Junior and Ethel dying. I had a feeling that they were gonna die because they're kind of an antagonist, asshole couple, the mom and son. But I didn't want anyone to die. But I will say, I wanted Pam to die in the final act, and she kept screaming and kept moaning and kept whining the entire final act once they see Jason show up behind the paramedic truck or van or whatever you want to call that. Once she saw him, she did not shut the hell up, and I was hoping that she was going to catch a fucking axe to the face. I was so annoyed. But that's really only why. And you know what? In these movies, you should care about the final girl. On some kind of level, you should care about the final girl. That should be what you got going. Final girl, Tommy Jarvis, and the kid. Those should be the three that you care about. You get the three at the end, but Pam could have gone. And that's not good. My next entry in the bad column is Jason, or the lack thereof. Now let me clarify with that. Throughout the film itself, Jason was okay. I liked that they still had him be in the shadows. They had his quick kills. They had him weaving in and out. They had a little bit of teleportation. But Jason was okay. But then you get the fact that it's a copycat killer and that it is not Jason at all whatsoever. I thought there was something screwy about the blue mask, and I was right. But to find out that I was that right was a bummer. And once I found out, it just took so much away from the movie for me. Because then you get this motive story that Roy is Joey's father, yet Joey believes he's an orphan and never met his dad. But then you have this guy that is so in love with his son and so just heartbroken about it that he goes on such a random fucking killing spree and kills just tons of random people. Kills Reggie's brother and his girlfriend. Kills the cokehead and his girlfriend. Why? What did they do? I understand maybe wanting some kind of revenge on the halfway house because that's where it happened with Joey. But if you cared so much about the kid, why didn't you take him back? If you knew this is where he was, if you knew who he was and where he was, why didn't you take him out of the house? It was weak, and why would you go after everyone? Why wouldn't you just find Vic and murder his ass? Like, what the hell did everyone else do? It was a weak twist with a very weak motive, and honestly, when he's laying there in the spikes with his face open, I felt really cheated out of a Friday the 13th experience. Maybe I'll like it more now knowing the twist, going back and watching it, but after this first watch, no, I am not happy. Now, for my final entry in the bad column, it breaks my heart to say this, and this is the first Friday the 13th that this has made its way into the bad column, but absolutely, the kills were bad in this movie. After how awesome they were in the final chapter, they were a complete and utter letdown. Across the board, I'd say maybe 3 were okay. The rest were very throwaway, But I have an entire section devoted to kills. So without further ado, let's just move into it and let's go. As I just said, after the awesome displays of brutality and murder in Part 4, I literally could not be more disappointed with the kills in Part 5. They were largely cutaway kills. Cutaway kills. And when they didn't cut away, they were very tame. Very mild, very just run-of-the-mill kills. Many of them were repeat kills within the film. You get a couple callback kills, like when he kills Robin and he grabs her and stabs her through the bed. That's a Jason classic. But as a series that has made glory kills and brutality pretty much a staple to be expected, how can you have so many cutaway kills? I don't understand the logic behind it. I understand that some might get benefit from that. Maybe Halloween's could have gotten a little bit more benefit from that. Not Friday the 13th. This is there. Jason, my favorite kill of the last movie was Jason halfway hacked this guy's head off and fucking spun it. That is some brutal shit. We're going to get into my award for favorite kill. I do have one, but it was a completely different reason that it was hard to pick one. It was hard to pick one in this one because they were all pretty run-of-the-mill and nothing to write home about. That's a really big bummer when it comes to Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, I want to see some blood. I want to see some guts. I want to see a dude hacked down the middle and stuck up to be dripping blood on his girlfriend. That's the type of shit I want to see. That is not the type of shit I got in Part 5. And sure, there were 21 kills. I mentioned that in my good. Awesome. Body count. Sweet. But because they were largely uninventive and you have the fire engine red blood that I mentioned in my review of the original that I hate, there's a big letdown. A very big letdown. I will say I have one saving grace that I am absolutely latching onto when it comes to the kills of this movie. And that is, and I don't think it was intentional at all, but I'm using it to cope with the fact that it was such a letdown. The fact that these kills were not performed by Jason Voorhees. They were performed by Roy Burns. And this guy was copycatting Jason. He has only read clippings of what Jason has done. And if they described kind of the wounds that these people had, he could maybe put two and two together. And he had a handful of tricks to make it seem like Jason. So he used that handful of tricks to make it seem like Jason. They say that, he was going to use Jason to cover up, him killing all these people. But ultimately, it just, no. I did say that the movie had a few good kills. And out of that, my award for favorite kill of the movie goes to, and this is probably not a surprise to many, Tina. The gardening shears to the eyes, slammed shut. It was very inventive. The scream that she put out was awesome, and it was a very welcome return of the confused boner kill that you all know I'm a big fan of. I like that they mess with your mind that way. And the reveal when Eddie flips her over and her shit's all split. Whew. That was awesome. Tina. Now it is time for some of my final thoughts for Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. As you can probably guess, I wasn't a big fan of this one. It seems to be this pretty big roller coaster that I've been on so far through the series. It ended on another Tommy Jarvis stinger of, is he going to be the killer? That felt really tired to me. Like I said, there's no Jason, so that was a bummer. I'm very much overall, though, excited to move into Part 6. Again, I don't know where we're going to go from here, but it will be a different story, hopefully. Maybe we'll get a little bit more Tommy Jarvis. But Part 6 is titled Jason Lives, and I swear to God, if Jason is not in that movie, I am flipping a fucking table. Question of the day. Which, so far, is your favorite Jason? 2, 3, 4, or Roy? We're counting Roy because he did all the kills in this one, and, well, it's a Friday the 13th movie. So hit the comments, let me know, and tell me why. As I said, I'm very excited to go watch Part 6, Jason Lives. But until then, because that's coming out on Tuesday, go watch my 1, 2, 3, and 4 reviews. Links to all those are in the description below. Go check those out. And while you're down there, I do have links to my Instagram and Twitter, both of which are at @TheDaveCave_. Post over there when I'm not posting here, and that is going to do it for me today. Thank you so much, as always, for stopping by the Dave Cave. Go watch those reviews and get ready for part 6. It's coming on Tuesday, but until then, take care.